The next thing to do is to now attach the bass pedal. Now we're going to do this at this point because if we build the rest of the kit around it, it's then very difficult to get into the bass pedal. So let's just turn the bass drum around so you've got a good view there. Now once again, in your packaging, you're going to see or find a box this shape, and inside there you're going to find a bass pedal. So if I can just get rid of that. When you take out your bass pedal, be a little bit careful because the way these are packed, the beater can sort of fall out. So take the pedal out of the bag. First thing to do is just to take the beater out of there because it's not fixed, it's only for packaging. Let's put the beater down there for a second. Now, when we open the pedal up, it's actually, again, sort of wrapped up for packing. So what we need to do is to bring the pedal round and over on itself. Now let's just do that again so the spring comes right round. That's how it's going to be packaged. So you bring this out, force the spring sort of round into that position, and then we're ready to go. Okay, so let's put this onto the bass drum. Now with the CB design here, what we have is this rod at the bottom with this little lug on it here, and that needs to slot into this hole. Now, it can be a bit tricky to begin with because what you need to do is to kind of hold that together, bring this round, put that onto the floor, just making sure that the rod stays in place. Just lift the hoop up and slide the pedal on. Now, if it won't go on immediately, it's because the clamp is too tight, which is what I've found here. So I'm just releasing the clamp with this nut under here, and the pedal slips on and into position. Now a couple of things to look for before you tighten this nut up here is make sure that the pedal is actually sitting squarely on the floor. If you're too far one way, you can probably see there we've got a huge gap under the pedal and it's touching the floor, and obviously it will do the same on the opposite side if you go on that side of the drum. So make sure that the pedal is sitting as squarely as it can on the floor there, touching both sides. So what we're going to do here now is just to nip up this nut here. Again, don't over tighten it. Once you can feel a bit of pressure on it, just give it a slight little turn and that's enough. That will do the job. Now, on the CB pedal you've got two springs. Just make sure with the springs, on the bottoms here you have two nuts. Just bring those nuts up a couple of turns, make sure there's some tension on the spring. When they're packed again, sometimes these can sort of loosen up in transit. So do that with both sides. We won't go into too much detail about tension and springs yet, but just make sure that they're actually sort of in contact and doing a job. That one at the moment still feels a little loose, so I'm going to just push that down and bring that up again. Okay, so the beater's in, the pedal's in place, and now we need to put the beater on. This is your beater, and it comes covered in this wrapping, which is a real pain to get off, but let's just pull that off. Okay, now like I said, it's a bit of a pain. You're probably going to find some little bits of plastic may get stuck around the top there, but it's irrelevant. It really doesn't make any difference at all. Okay, now we need to put the beater in place. Now to do that, we need our drum key, which I've put safely in my pocket. Okay, it's drum key, and here we have your beater. Now that goes into this hole here and has to be tightened up with this sort of nut here using the drum key. Now, a couple of things to look for here. Make sure that the beater stem doesn't go so far down that it touches the head, okay? We do not want that because once you start to play it, it's obviously going to damage the head. So make sure that the beater is not touching the head there, or the stem of the beater, and give that a tighten up. Again, feel the pressure on the nut and then just a slight little turn. Don't overdo any of these threads. Okay, so now the bass drum's in position, beater's on, and we're ready to go.